Hey everybody, welcome to FabFitFriday. I am still having issues with my video, so I'm going to turn my view to my picture or my table camera as quickly as possible because my face camera is still not working properly. Hi Janie, welcome. It's already starting to snow here and the big storm hasn't even reached us yet, so it's going to be an exciting weather weekend. Hi Judy, welcome. Hi Carol, welcome. I'm kind of excited about this episode of FabFitFriday because I don't think I've really spent a ton of time working on fitting the yoga pants, especially when you lengthen them into leggings. Hi Mary, hi Diane. Oh, Mary says she's going to be up and down getting baking done and going to my son's tomorrow. Hi Rosalind, welcome. Well, I have a leaven started for my batch of sourdough today. So this needs to get up to here, you know, maybe a little bit more till it doubles and gets to full activity, and then I'm going to bake my new sourdough bread today. So I'm working on that. I have it on the windowsill because it's warm. All right. So today what I want to do is, oh, hold on. Hey Pat, welcome. In southeast Pennsylvania, we already have 1 inch. Only a dusting was predicted. Ugh. Well, we went from, I'm in Connecticut, so we went from it might get to be 6 to 12 inches, or it might miss us, it might go out to sea, and then I woke up this morning and it updated to 12 to 20 inches of snow. So I did enjoy my hike this morning on my lovely pack snow and ice paths, and then tomorrow I don't know if I'll get out there, but on Sunday I'll be, you know, blazing a new trail probably. So the fun of hiking in the winter. All right, so what I want to talk about today is my yoga pants pattern, and I just want to tell you a little bit about I want to tell you a little bit about how I started, how I designed the pattern initially. Initially, the pattern was designed to be fitted through the waist and hips, and then it had kind of a loose leg. So when you're fitting a pair of yoga pants like that, you have, you know, you just have to worry about them staying up, and you don't have to worry about them pulling down. But when you change the style of the leg to be snug and to make like a legging or even a tight, like tights, then you have the issue of the tight parts of the yoga pants are pulling down the rest of the yoga pants. And this gets worse if the top is big or looser. So let me just finish saying hi. Oh, Mary says, I never had good luck with those starters. Yay to you. Well, I do have a tip. I'm sorry, I hope if anybody is nauseated listening to me talk about my sourdough, I'm sorry, but I'm super excited. I will tell you, I tried to do a starter myself and I could not do it. I tried multiple times. I tried in the winter and I thought it was too cold. Then I tried in the spring because I thought it would be better temperature. I could never get it to work. I think the trick might be, Mary, if you get a starter from somebody else and sort of understand how it grows when you feed it, and then how it sort of deflates when it's done eating all the extra flour and water, then that will help you develop your own starter, I think, because my own starter is doing really well now, and I couldn't do it before, but after working with one that my neighbor gave me, I'm finding it easier. So maybe if you want to try to get one from somebody, you know, then you can work with one that's already going, and then that might help you make your own. So that's kind of how I did it. Hi Diane, welcome. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to stand up. I want to show you my leggings. I just want to see if I can show you here. So you can see they go all the way down to my ankle. Okay, and actually I have them cuffed up. I tuck them into the heel of my sock when I'm hiking. And you can see they are nice and fitted, and they don't fall down anymore, and they're really, really comfortable. I do not have elastic in my waist. I just have the, you know, the regular knit waistband here. But you can see there's my flower from when I made my autolays. But anyway, so that's how they fit now. And here's what I want to do. I want to explain some things. So I'm going to switch over to my table shot now. This will be better for you to watch because, like I said, my view of my my face camera, I have to still work on getting that to work better. So the first thing I did was, if this were my personal pattern, I actually went back and I traced one size smaller because, like I said in the beginning, I lost weight, so like my butt and my thighs got to be almost 2 inches smaller. My thigh went from 27 to 25. So through this area, it got very loose. So what ended up happening was, down at the bottom, and you can see, I'll put my leg up here, you can see that this is very, very snug. Okay, it's hard to pinch the fabric because it's snug down here. So what was happening was the calf area of my yoga pants was pulling down the pants. That's what was happening. Hey Sally, welcome. Diane says, I'm hoping this is your next class with Fabric Mart. I think we did plan, to do, oh, I can put this over here. Hi, here I am. We did plan to do yoga pants in September with Fabric Mart. So I know that I will be teaching yoga pants in September with Fabric Mart. And maybe, I'm also thinking I might host some of my own classes, so stay tuned, we'll see what I can fit into my schedule. Hi Ann, welcome. All right, so the first thing I want to do is show you that this is how the pattern looks when you get it. Okay, it's got a wide leg, and you can see it's basically a rectangle from the upper thigh down. So the first thing is, if you want to make a legging, meaning you want to take it in so it's snug at the ankle, what you're going to do is you're going to mark, just get a ruler here so I have it handy. You're going to mark the center. So let me just, I think the pattern has a center grain line, so I'm just going to add that here. Then you're going to measure from, from the center out, and I would leave like a 6-inch, between 5 and 6 inch hole, because it's very stretchy. So if you measure out, let's say we'll start with 6 inches, so 3 inches on each side, 3 inches here and 3 inches here. Okay, and then what you're going to do is you're going to just dash yourself from there up to the curve like this. And in the front, you're going to do something like this. Something like that. And that's what's going to make the, that's what's going to make this transform into a yoga pant, into a legging. So, once you get your dashed in shape, you can use a ruler and, darken that in. Now, here are some things that you want to consider. First of all, if you measure along your inseam down to where your knee is, so let's say the knee is right here. Okay, you're going to want to check and see, how that's fitting. You don't want to take it in so much that it's too tight, but on the other hand, you don't want it to be loose either, because down here, and I'm just going to sort of shade in this area, this is where your calf is. If this is fitting really, really snug, and this area up here is fitting really, really loose, what's going to happen as you're using or wearing your yoga pants is it's going to pull down, because the tight fabric around your calf is going to be tugging at it, and it's going to pull down. So, you know, maybe take a measurement here at your knee and compare it to your pattern, and then, you know, you don't, you know, it could be, well, I don't even know if taking a measurement really matters. Just make sure you, if you take a measurement, and it should be smaller than your knee to be a legging, maybe a couple inches smaller than your knee. You know, just make sure it's not like really tiny for your knee. I guess that's what I'm saying. The fabric, if you're using my fabric, it has 40% stretch, so it almost doubles in, it has the potential to almost double in width. So just make sure it's a little bit smaller than your knee to start. And then after you cut that out, so let me just cut this out. The next step is you want to make sure that the inseams still match lengthwise, because you've created curves now, and you want to just double check that. So let me just cut this off here. So what you're going to do is you're literally going to fold it in half, match your hem and your inseams, you know, and just make sure that they still match pretty well. And let me just cut my crotches off so we can see that. Okay, so if you're working with a pattern that you already know fits you, for example, if you've already made yoga pants and you know that your pattern fits, trace a copy, and then you could make this legging shape. Okay, so I'm folding it in half, and I just want to make sure that it matches, and you can see it does. Okay, so I know my inseams are going to sew together nicely. So my next step here would be to sew, you know, to cut this out, make 2 legs, sew them together, and then if you want to add the waistband, add the waistband. But then you want to try them on, because trying them on is how you're really going to see if it's got a comfortable fit when you add the long leg. All right, let me just stop here. Diane says, love the idea of you hosting some of your own classes. Jen's Easy Fit Yoga Pants class is a great class. Well, thank you. Thank you, Diane. That's very nice. All right, so now that I've got this shape and I've sewn it together, let me just show you here. These are not leggings because I think I've mentioned to you a couple times that I'm a hot lady, and normally I make leggings and then I actually cut them and make them shorter, because if it's not under 25, I don't need to have my whole leg covered because I'm very warm. But let me just show you here. So this is a pair that I actually made on the sewing machine many moons ago, and I wear them quite a bit. But what I want to show you here is this area. Let me make it a little bit lighter. Okay, here we go. Just so you can see, I'm blowing it out so you can see the black fabric. If this area in here is too loose, it's going to allow the tighter calf to pull it down. And what I ended up doing with, okay, so when I made my, the pair that I'm wearing, like I said, I lost weight, so I went down 1 size, and I thought that would fix the problem. And actually, it was much better. But when I went hiking to test the comfort of my pants, what I ended up having to do, I'm just going to lay it right here. This is this little piece right here, and you can see I didn't even do a super accurate job, but basically I sewed in deeper through the crotch and back down because it was still too loose in this area. So if you want to take in your leg of finished yoga pants, you have 2 choices. If you want to be really fussy about it, the first thing you have to do is take off or take apart the crotch about let's say 3 inches in the front to 3 inches in the back, because the crotch seam is the last thing you sew when you make yoga pants, because you make 2 legs and then you put them inside each other and sew the U-shaped crotch. So you can see here, I actually was far enough away. Let me make this bigger so you can see here. I was actually far enough away from my seam that I could just pinch it and sew through. So now my inseam continues along, not on this pair, but on the pair that I'm actually wearing. But taking off just this inch, okay, so it's an inch at the very top, and then it gradually gets to be less as you go down the inseam. That's what made the yoga pants fit and stay up. So if you're making snug yoga pants, you know, at the bottom of, you know, at the bottom of your leg, at the calf area, if you're making them snug there, then they really need to be snug all the way up to the waist. Does anybody have questions about that? Or does anybody have, you know, a question about fitting their yoga pants? Let me know, you know, because we can answer questions live, because I'm here with you. This, taking it in like this does shorten the front and back crotch points. So actually, this probably shortened me down to a size medium through the crotch, because I went from an extra large to a large, and then I actually ended up cutting more of the width of the top of the leg and a little bit of the crotch point off to get it to fit nice. So, you know, but I know all throughout the whole rest of the thing, throughout the rest of the pant, the large fits me really nicely. So just know that you can take in the crotch area if it's drooping down and if it feels like it's too loose, or if you sit down in your yoga pants and you have a little pile of fabric in your lap down here, that would be a sign that you need to shorten your rise too. Hi Andrea, welcome. Thank you for joining me. We're fitting yoga pants here. So what you missed was I showed how to make a legging version of the yoga pants by taking in the leg. So that's what you missed basically. And then I talked about fitting it. So the other thing that can happen is if your whole leg, let's say your whole leg from the crotch level down is really snug, but then you have extra room at the waist, that can also cause them to fall down. Justine says, can a regular sewing machine be used to make these? Yes, as a matter of fact, let's zoom in on this pair here for a second. Let me just make it really clear. Okay, you can see I sewed these on my sewing machine. When I teach live events for Stitches events, I actually do a demo in their it's called their playground, where they do free demos and free lectures, you know, in the vendor hall. I have a demonstration called Yoga Pants in 30 Minutes or Less. So you can see these yoga pants were sewn on the sewing machine. So what I do is I sew them a straight, I sew a straight seam first, and then I use my triple zigzag to top stitch the seams in place. And I think you can see here, the whole crotch is top stitched with that triple zigzag. If you use a triple zigzag, it goes nowhere. So use a triple zigzag to top stitch all your seams after you sew them on your sewing machine, and you'll have a pair of yoga pants that have industrial strength. So definitely you can use your sewing machine. All right. Oh, hi Kay, how are you? So definitely use your sewing machine. I mean, you can definitely use your sewing machine. Now, getting back to this here, if you make snug legs, snug ankles, snug in the crotch, and then when you get to the actual waistline, if you relax or make it fit a little bit looser through the waist and then the waistband, that's another thing. The whole leg is going to make it want to fall down. let me just get this so it's clear. All right, and then I'm going to back this up. So if you want to have loose fitting through your tummy, let's say, like sometimes I don't like things pressing up against my tummy, I'll be honest with you. The top of this waistband actually hits me well above my belly button. I want to say that my seam is close to my belly button here. So up at the top here, it's really almost on my midriff. And on my midriff, I don't care if it's a little bit snug. So if you like it loose through the waist and tummy area, add, make sure that, first of all, make sure that the leg is high enough. So if you want to make a high-waisted pair, oops, let me just switch this back down now to a little bit darker. Oops. All right, hold on. I couldn't reach my thing here. All right, so, all right. So if you want to make a high-waisted or adjust the rise, like let's say you make your first pair and you'd like to get that seam between the top of the leg and the waistband a little bit higher, all you're going to do is extend the straight parts of the crotch. Now I added 1.5 inches to my back and like 3/4 of an inch to my front, and then I connected it like this. Okay, so I've lifted that seam up over my tummy. So the actual seam of my pants is like right at my belly button. That way, when I sew my yoga pants up, I can add a waistband on top of that. So when I add my waistband, you know, it's going to be really up there. Like I said, it's on my midriff. So it's not squeezing me if I want to make my waistband tighter. All right, so let's see. Sally says, I have hesitated to make my first pair of yoga pants with your nice fabric because I'm worried I'll have to do a lot of adjusting like I have to do with my pants in woven fabric. Do people like me need multiple muslins of yoga pants? Okay, so I will tell you, yoga pants are more of an instant gratification kind of project. It's not hard like pants. When I when I teach this live, students get to try on the actual yoga pants in the actual fabric because I've made them all up, all the sizes in my yoga pants fabric. So when I teach, I can make really quick work of finding a size. But I've taught it live a few times, and I think everybody ended up with yoga pants first try. So the thing about it is, if you're thinking about making your first pair of yoga pants, let me just get a pattern here. All right, so let's look at the size chart. Okay, so looking at the size chart here, you want to pick, these measurements are body measurements. So for example, my full hip was 45. So I made the extra large. Okay, now if we were to measure the pattern, let's measure the pattern. All right, this is the actual pattern. Let's get this out here. I'm gonna move all this stuff out of the way. Okay. I don't know if anybody has gotten a pattern from me since a little bit before the new year, but I have new paper, and it's really nice because it's more of a see-through kind of crisp feel to it. All right, so this is the actual pattern. And I'm just going to fold it in half like this so we can work with, let's look at the full hip area here. So I'm going to measure the extra large through the full hip. So it's 18, 20. So it's 20 inches, so it's 40 inches across before then you sew your seam allowances. So in the instructions it says pick a size that's 5 or 6 inches smaller, 5 to 7 inches of negative ease, basically. So my hip measured 45, and I worked with the extra large, which measures 40 inches in the hip before you sew it. So really it's going to measure like 39 and a quarter if I use 3/8 inch seam allowances. So that's giving me almost 6 inches to stretch. So you can see when I lost weight and my hip measurement went down, they became too loose. So I think if you find your size on the chart, your actual full hip size, and start with that, you will be able to get them to fit you, especially if you're using my fabric, because I know that my Easy Fit my Performance Sports Knit has really good 4-way stretch. So it stretches vertically and it stretches horizontally. And that's super important when you're working with a yoga pants pattern, because you can see here, look how small my crotch curves are. My crotch extensions are tiny, okay, because it's relying on the fact that the fabric is going to stretch vertically and horizontally to fit you. So basically, I went from the extra large down to a large, and that difference was 5/8, 1 inch and a quarter, so 2.5 inches smaller to make my size large yoga pants, and I still needed to take them in the crotch a little bit. So I think you can feel pretty safe if you find your measurement on this chart, and then start with that size. I think you're going to be okay, Sally, because you can make them and then fine-tune adjust them. So let me know if you have any questions about that. And also, if you want to measure, if you want to go ahead and just measure the pattern like I did through the full hip, that will tell you what the actual pattern measures. But anyway, let me know if you have questions about that, or if you tell me what your full hip is, I will tell you which size I think you should start with. Let's see. Oh, Kay says, I really like the waistband high. I do too. This is a little funny story. I make shorts versions of my yoga pants to wear to bed, and they were in the wash, and it was really, really cold. So I pulled out an old pair of yoga pants that were kind of like to the knee to wear to bed, but they were really old, like several years old. So back several years ago, I liked my waistbands really low, and I was amazed on how uncomfortable it was to have my waistband that low. I kept trying to pull them up. I literally, when I heard the ding of the dryer, I went and got my regular shorts because I couldn't take it. So it is important to put that waistband where it's comfortable for you. All right, Sally says, is the women's jeans pattern printed on the new paper? No, the women's jeans is not, because I still have the original patterns that I got printed at McCall's in Simplicity. I sent my first set of patterns there to get them professionally printed for me, and you had to buy 1,000 at a time. So I still, believe it or not, all these years later, I still have a few of my women's jeans patterns left. But it's well under 100, so eventually I will be making up my my women's jeans in this pattern. So the women's jeans is on tissue, like from McCall's. Kay is asking if I have different colors in my performance knit. So the fabric that I get it from Sports Tech. It only comes in like 5 colors: black, gray, burgundy, navy, and I think like a white color. So I normally just get black or gray or navy, and I get one color at a time because I have to buy the whole roll in order to get a wholesale price for it, which is still really expensive. So currently I just have black. So my next one will either be gray or navy because I never get the same color twice. I try to split it up a little bit. So here's the other thing. Like, let's say you measure your full hip, you measure across, and you pick a size that's maybe, 5, 6, 7 inches smaller than you. Cut out that size. But then let's say you have a small defined waist. What you can do, let me just push this. I'm going to fold this back up so it's a little bit smaller. Okay, so if you measured your yoga pants and you so you measured your full hip, checked it with your okay, so I'm going to be ordering gray next for Kay and Andrea. Okay, so you measure your full hip, but let's say you have a defined waist and you want to take it in here. Keeping in mind that your waistband is going to add, anywhere from 2 up to 6 inches, I would say, you could make your waistband. So remember, the waistband is customizable. You can make it any width you want. But if you want to start to fine-tune the fit of the waist, let me do it on here. So let's say we lengthened our rise and we measured our full hip. You can actually, measure what the top of your just looking for a different color here. Measure the top of the waist. So my top of the waist would be from here to here. And if you want to make that smaller, all you need to do is measure in on each side and then just give yourself a new crotch shape like this. So this is how you can start to take in the waist before you add your waistband. Okay, so you can see that you can start to take in the waistband before you actually add your waistband by angling the center back seams a little bit and the center front seam a little bit. So that's how you would take in your waistband. And then when you make your actual waistband, I'm going to cut this out. Okay, so let's say this is our finished pattern. We took in the waist, we checked our full hip. Let's say we're just going to make a full leg pair for this one. And another way to save fabric is, if you're working with the full pattern here, measure your inseam, okay? Because if your inseam cut off the extra at the bottom, then you're also going to be saving fabric. All right, so check your your length. So let's cut that off, pretend we're shorter than the pattern, I mean. Okay, so this is our finished yoga pants pattern. Let me just stop. C. Van says, waiting someday to see you in Toronto, Canada. Ooh, I would love to teach in Canada. If you know of any sewing stores that have sewing educators come, please tell them I will come. That would be a fun trip. All right, so here's our pattern. How do we decide about our waistband? Let me show you that. I'm going to use a strip of fabric here. Okay, so here's my strip of fabric. You want to cut your strip of fabric to be twice as wide as you would like the height of your waistband, because you're I'm sorry. There we go. Okay, so you're actually going to end up folding this in half like this for your waistband. All right, so you want to make it double wide. And then what I like to do is physically fold my fabric in half and then fold it in half again. Let me just cut this off here. All right, so I lay it right on top of my leg like this. And at this point, you've probably tried your yoga pants on. If you test fit your yoga pants without a waistband, they're gonna feel yucky. But don't worry, because the reason why they feel yucky is because there's no waistband on there yet and they're low. So don't freak out if you cut out your yoga pants, sew them together, and then try them on without the waistband. I say this in every class I teach, and people are kind of like a little bit worried when they try them on without the waistband, and then once they put the waistband on, they're like so happy. So with the yoga pants on your body, see how that top edge feels. If it's snug against you already and you want to make the waistband just a little bit snugger, you're going to cut the waistband so it's an inch or two shorter, less wide than the top of the finished legs. So I'm just going to draw a line here. All right, so if you cut it an inch shorter that way, it's going to be 2 inches shorter. Okay, if you want it to be even snugger, you can probably get away with making it between 3 and 4 inches shorter depending on your size. If you're in the larger sizes, you probably can get away with 4 inches shorter. In the smaller sizes, I would say 3 inches would be the max, because if you make it really small compared to here, you're going to have to stretch the waistband more to attach it to the legs, and then you might get some gathering at the top of the leg if it's significantly shorter. But that's not to say that there's not more that you can do to make it snug. So after you decide and you cut it out, okay, you're going to sew it together into a circle like this. So unfold it, sew that edge, and then fold it back down. And then you're in a circle here. And then what you're going to do is you're just going to attach your, let's pretend this is in a circle. You're going to attach this to the top of your legs by matching the seam that you made at the center back seam. And the halfway point will be at the center front. And then you just ease in the rest, and then you just serge it on. So you're attaching 2 raw edges of the waistband to the 1 raw edge of the top of the legs. Okay, so then you're going to try that on. And if it's still too loose up at the top, another thing you can do is, this is the, let me make this lighter now so you can see. Okay, so this is the actual the inside of these. I'm gonna, I think both of my, okay, wait a minute. I don't have to look for a seam ripper because one of my dear sewing ladies, Diane, sent me seam rippers. So all of my seam rippers are in project bags because I take them to my parents to do work. So I'm going to take advantage of one of Diane's let me just see here. Hi, Linda Lee. Welcome. You're from Loa Altos? That sounds like that might be nice and warm. We're going to get super snow here. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my seam ripper and I'm just going to dig in here. And I'm really not super concerned about making a hole. I just want to get to my seam. Now once I start cutting it, notice how I'm putting the ball side. Is that not sharp? Hold on. There we go. I'm going to put the ball side in the hole here, and I'm just going to slice up. The ball protects the fabric from getting slashed. So now I've made this nice little hole. So the next step is you're going to take some elastic, and I have my This is my 2-inch wide elastic that I love to use for almost everything. So I'm just going to cut a piece off here. And I don't want the full width. I don't need the full width of, oh, it's 54 degrees there. I guess that's not that warm. But it would feel balmy to me at this point. It's been very cold here. All right, so you can see, I think you can see that there are little ridges in this elastic. And what I'm going to do is I'm literally just going to cut right along one of the ridges. You can use your rotary cutter to very easily cut it apart. You can also use your scissors. But I like this elastic because I can really get 2 waistbands from one piece. All right, so I've cut this in half into a size I like for my yoga pants. Then I'm going to use something, maybe let's see if I can find I'm going to use my little wooden bodkin here. And I'm just going to fold my elastic so it'll fit through this hole. Actually, you know what I'll do? I'm going to make a point so I can pull it through my hole like that. Then I'm just going to take this elastic and snake it through. So this gives you another opportunity to tighten up your yoga pants. I call this my floating elastic technique. It's making me a little bit bigger here. Okay. So I'm just going to snake it all the way through. And I'm staying up at the top of the fold because when we're finished, we want the elastic to be right up at the top of the fold. Because the cool thing is we don't need a ton of elastic here. We just need a little bit to help make it feel firm. I'm going to use 2 Wonder Clips to hold this together for a minute. I'm just going to get it sorted out here. Hold on. Okay, so you can see here, let me make it a little bit lighter, that if you push that elastic all the way up to the top, so it's right up against the fold, that will allow you to really snug up the top of that waistband. Now this is especially helpful if you're making a super wide waistband. One option that you can do is actually lower the rise of the leg and then make a really wide waistband, and then it will act as a tummy control panel. All right, so C-Van just said -9 Fahrenheit near Lake Huron in Ontario, Canada. Woo! All right, you definitely have us beat. That is cold. I have a tutorial that shows you how to make lined leggings out of this fabric using this pattern on my YouTube channel. So you might want to check that out because they're super warm. They were too warm for me. I had to cut them apart and make them back into 2 pairs. But I do have a lined legging tutorial you might want to check out. All right, so after you get the elastic in there and it's up at the top, you can snug it up to make it so it's the right length. And then you want to feel around and make sure that it's laying flat. You don't want it to be twisted. So I just want to make sure everything is flat. So after you have it the right length, all you're going to do is you're going to use your triple zigzag on your sewing machine and just sew it into, sew over this end and then flip it over and sew over this end so it doesn't pick up on you. And then you're just going to stick it in there and close the hole. Now, I like to, it's closed, Diane. Sorry. Diane is my safety girl. She makes her crazy when I leave my rotary cutter open, so I did shut it, Diane. Let's see. Oh, Carol says, a couple of days ago we broke up to a negative 41 wind chill. Woo! Well, you're near Chicago, right? Like in the Windy City there. No dog walking at night. Oh my God. All right, so, you know, you're just going to sew this shut, and then you're going to tuck it in, and you're going to sew the hole shut. And really, what I would do is hold it shut like this, and then just triple zigzag through both the elastic and the front and back, just to tack it up there. And then go over to where the side seam would be and just sew through that, and that will keep it up at the top, and it will also keep it from it'll keep it from twisting too. So just tack it at the side seams, where the side seams would be, and that'll keep it from flipping around in there, and it will also keep it up at the top of the waistband. So that's how you can actually fit the waistband further, you know, especially if you're making a wider waistband. I generally, as long as my waistband is no more than 4 inches, I don't need to do that. But I don't have a defined waist either. My waist and my midriff and my tummy are almost all the same measurement. Let's see. Uh-oh. No dog walking at night, Carol. Pat is dittoing Diane. Okay, I have 2 safety girls. And Mary says your 2-inch elastic would work well in there. It would, and you know what, if you want to keep it full length, you definitely, I mean, if you want to use the full width of it, you totally can. You don't have to cut it. Ooh, boy, it is cold up there in Canada. Justine says it's 1.4 Fahrenheit in Manitoba, Canada. Wow. I will tell you, I'll put a link to the lined yoga pants tutorial in this description when I get off, you know, when I'm done. But I wore mine when it was 7 degrees here, and I was sweating. I couldn't do it. So I'm literally a very warm person when I'm hiking, because I'm really working out. I'm not just strolling along. When I go hiking with my friend Marisa, I have to bulk up a little bit because she's slower than me, and I go at her pace. But those lined yoga pants are really comfortable, and once you have the fit right, you know, make sure you fit your yoga pants pattern before you make a lined pair, because if the fit isn't right, then you're going to have to fix 2 pairs. So always make sure, you know, always make sure your fit is right before you make a lined pair. Let's see. Okay, says I love the full width. It feels nice and secure. That is true. That is true. It is a nice substantial elastic. And then Mary says it sews beautifully, doesn't stretch out. No, that's why I brilliantly call it cut and sew elastic. I'm so clever with my names. That's why I call it cut and sew. It's really a knit elastic, and that's what makes it, it makes it, you know, the ability to cut it. I mean, notice I cut it and the edges are not fraying. See? So if you want to cut it narrower, you can, and as long as you don't jump over a groove, it won't fray at all. If you do jump over a groove, you can just pull that one little rubber strand out, and then it will keep. But anyway, so that's how you use the elastic to fit the waist. You know, and of course we went through how to, oops, let me make this a little bit darker now. Okay, so, and we also went over how to fit the waist to make it a little bit smaller, how to add to the rise, how to make a legging version. So those are all the things that I wanted to share with you today. And then also know that if after you make everything and you've lived in them for a few days, they're really easy to take in just a little bit more by sewing through the crotch a little bit deeper if there's too much fabric there. So now that I took out this little bit of fabric, they fit perfect. I'm so excited. So I'm sitting in these. I don't have to pull them up. As soon as I get off, I am going to go and do some grocery shopping. It's it's snowing already. I know the snow is not the snow that's coming tonight, but I'm afraid by the time I get to the grocery store, there's going to be nothing to eat because people are crazy here in Manchester. All right, let's see. C-Van says, we sweat in the dog park Tai Chi, doing Tai Chi, so I wish lockdown was over now. Line yoga pants under denim as leggings. Oh yeah, that would be nice and warm. Oh, hi Kelly. So glad to find you. You're all who love all of my J Stern classes. Looking forward to learning more about your patterns. Well, thank you, Kelly. Thank you for joining me. I really appreciate it. I do want to say that, and I really appreciate each and every one of you for following along with me. Fridays are always my favorite day of the week because I know I'm going to come on and I'll get to chat with you guys. I really, really enjoy it. And and I also love answering subscriber questions. So on Fit Tip Tuesday next week, I got a question from one of my subscribers asking how to adjust her pants pattern for her wrinkles, plus her friend had a pants with wrinkles. So I have side-by-side pictures of these two ladies. I have permission to use their pictures, and I'm going to show you how to adjust a pants pattern for their wrinkles, because I'll be able to show when you need to scoop and when you need to extend the crotch extensions, because they have two different fit issues with wrinkles that are similar around the butt, but if you look at the whole fit of the entire leg, you can tell where one of them is too long and one of them just needs more width front to back. So I'm really excited about next week's episode of Fit Tip Tuesday. And of course it comes from a subscriber asking questions and following along with me. So I really appreciate all of that. I appreciate that you follow along with me. I appreciate that you take my classes and buy my patterns, and because otherwise I couldn't do it without you guys. So I just want to say again, I really, really appreciate all of you. And I'm in this little picture-in-picture because my face camera's not working great yet. I still have to fuss with it some more. My husband wants to take the whole thing apart and put it, tinker around with it, but I'm afraid that's going to take so many days. I don't know when we're going to get to break that down. But anyway, oh, Kelly says that would be awesome. I'm still trying to figure that out. All right, well, tune in at noon Eastern Standard Time on Tuesday for Fit Tip Tuesday. It's not live, but it will be my weekly upload for Tuesday. And then of course, if you guys watch a tutorial on Tuesday and you have questions, you can post them below the video, but you can also come on Fridays and ask me. So if anybody has questions about something I showed or something they're working on, and we're here together, you always can feel free to ask, even though it's not part of the topic I'm talking about, at the end, because I'm very happy to help you guys. So anyway, that's my little story for today. I hope everybody stays safe and sound. If you're in the path of this big snowstorm coming on the East Coast, batten down your hatches. Just imagine me on Sunday. I probably won't go hiking tomorrow, but on Sunday I probably will be trailblazing through 20 inches of snow around my favorite trail path, because once I get past the summit, usually all the it takes a few days for people to hike out as far as me, I guess is what I'm saying. So usually I'm the first one out there, and then I'm the second one out there. It's kind of fun to see my footprints all by themselves when I hike the second day after a storm. But I hope you guys are, have a wonderful weekend, and I will see you next week for another FabFitFriday. I'm really hoping to get together with my friend to finish fitting that shirt that I showed how to add ease to. And Kay is saying no. Kay, I have my spray you sent me, so I'm safe and sound. And I also have find my phone on my phone, so if something happens, my husband can come and find me. So I'm safe. And I have my 2 dogs, too. So I'm safe. I love it. But anyway, I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. And if you have any yoga pants questions, oh yes, yes, Mary, I go the same route most days, and my husband has hiked that with me, so he knows. It'll be okay. I'm safe, I promise. Plus my dogs wouldn't leave me. They would stay with me. All right, so, oh, Pat says, I hike with snowshoes in the deep snow, definitely a workout. You know, I'm considering getting snowshoes. I don't have snowshoes. I have those camp-ons, those metal spiky things. I put them on my sneakers. And then I made the fleece ankle warmers. I have that on my Instagram if anyone wants a quick tutorial on how to make fleece ankle warmers. You know, so I'm pretty warm. All right, so wait. C. Van says, you taught me my baby lock serger via tutorials years ago. Oh, I'm so glad. Oh, you retracted it. I'm so glad that you are using those tutorials. I am teaching a class next weekend on the 5th and 6th for stitches at home, and it's a serger class for it's serger techniques for garment sewers. So I'm going to show how to use the 3-thread overlock to do a variety of different things that are decorative and functional, you know, as well as the rolled hem and some other things. So if you're interested in maybe expanding your serger skills for garments, I will be using my Baby Lock Ovation during that class. So that's going to be a fun class. I'll put a link to that class in the description below. I actually did a preview for it, so I'll put the link to the preview. In Canada, you probably will just have to cut out pieces. There's a supply list that you can cut out your own fabric, so you don't have to buy the kit, because they don't send the kit outside the United States, plus it's getting really close for that. But that is going to be a fun. I don't mind telling you, I only have 6 people in the class right now, so if anybody's interested in expanding their serger skills with garment sewing, or if they want to troubleshoot their serger, that's going to be a good class to take, because there's 3 2-hour sessions on the 5th and 6th of February. So I will put a link to that class in the description below when I'm done as well, in case you're interested in checking that out. Mary says, I like metal snowshoes over wooden ones. I have my eyeball on a pair from LL Bean catalog. I think they're metal. I'm really considering getting them because it seems like that would be a fun thing. And then I can join the other snowshoers on Case Mountain who help tamp down the trail for everybody else who doesn't have them. So I will be considering that. All right, so I think I'm all done talking. I hope you guys enjoyed this FabFitFriday. Stay safe. Have a wonderful weekend, and I will see you again next week. Thank you so much. All right, I'm going to go before I continue to blabber on. Bye.